Thanks to EA for the free game code. Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Akron Zips Dynasty mode here in CFB 26. So in last episode, if you did not catch it, we continued through the offseason a little bit more, and we got some recruits that I'm very, very excited about. Obviously, this upcoming season, I'm not too sure if our team will still be good, but I do like some of the additions we brought in, because we brought in a lot more 3-star guys this year, I think, than last year. Last year, I think we only brought like 2. The second season, we brought in a lot more. We also brought in a 4-star recruit in Robert Thomas, which I'm very excited about. And then we also got a couple 2-stars and I think even maybe 1-star or something like that. But we definitely did a better job this year, which means hopefully we continue to do that so we can build this team up over these next few years. Now, obviously, we still have more of the offseason left to go because I did stop it at a point where we could encourage transfers if we wanted to. I'm not sure if we're actually going to encourage any transfers just because we don't really have a lot of people on this roster already. We might as well let them leave on their own terms rather than trying to force them to leave. Eventually, at some point, we'll probably have to force some people to leave because of due to like playing time and all that stuff, but right now I don't think it's a huge issue. So anyways, with that said, let's get your guys' comments, see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we will get into the rest of the offseason and maybe starting up year number 3. So the first 2 and only comments are from Dylan Burrows. The first one says, the draft class is the players getting drafted into the NFL, and I didn't even think of that for some reason because there was like a draft class portion in the offseason. That's actually so you could see if your players get drafted by an NFL team, which is kind of cool. So it'll be interesting to see if like guys like Robert Thomas eventually, once he leaves this team, if he ends up getting drafted by an NFL team. I would assume he would, just because right now, if we actually go to encourage transfers, we could take a look at him. He's, like I said, a 4-star wide receiver, but at the moment he is a 73 overall. Does have only a normal dev trade, but still looks like he's going to be a pretty solid player. I hope we could get him to develop into being a very good wide receiver. Obviously right now he's technically our best wide receiver, so I'm hoping we could get him into the lineup fully next season, just because he does have playing time as his deal breaker. So we'll be interested to see if we end up getting guys like that drafted into the NFL at some point in time. Also, Dylan says, also, I think you have auto progression on for your players, and I think maybe I do. I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe if I look in league settings, I could find that out. Auto progression is not a huge issue, I guess, because it could assign all the stats already. Does it have an auto progression? Or maybe I can't even take a look at this. I don't even know if I could take a look at it throughout the stuff. Oh yeah, auto progress players. So I guess technically I would not have to adjust the players, which is good. I could also user coach auto progression, but I don't think I need to do that, so I'll keep it like that. But obviously, if I should shut this off at some point, you guys can let me know. But I think for right now, it's fine, because that way at least our players are getting those progress points spent towards them at the moment. I was also asking Dylan if there is any players we should encourage to transfer on this team, and he says, no, I think if they want to leave, they'll leave on their own. We need all the players we could get, haha. And that's pretty true. We basically, like I was saying before this as well, we do not have the best roster on paper, so it's probably best just to kind of hold on to people in general right now and let them leave on their own terms. So we aren't going to encourage any transfers this offseason, but at some point we probably will have to if we end up having too many players in certain areas. So with that said, I think we're ready to advance to next week and see what is after this stage. I can't remember what's after this stage, but we'll get to it anyways, and continue to get our lineup set up, of course, for the next season. Obviously, I'm going to have to redshirt people and stuff like that in this episode, so we're going to have to set that up hopefully soon, because I'm looking forward to seeing what our lineup is looking like when we do get the right people in. So we're 61s across the boards. Anything growing yet? Nope. Everything's still pretty bad. There is a lot of people that could potentially be leaving our team due to deal breakers. I was actually looking through the entire roster, and it seems like a lot of people, like there's some people that want better brand exposure. I don't know how you could get this better. I don't think there's really much way you can get it better. Maybe there is. There were some people that wanted to leave due to championship contendership as well, coach prestige, conference prestige. The good thing for us is we do have playing time as an easy one and playing style as well. So for playing time and people from proximity to home, we should be able to hold on to those type of guys long term, unless they're from further away than our school is, I guess. But there's that. And I guess we're at the start of the next season already. We're at preseason. So let's go through our roster and get this set up the way we want to, so that way we don't end up losing people in the off season. So if we go to our depth chart, this is where we'll be able to set up things, I think. So Jennings, actually, yeah, I guess this is already set up for quarterbacks. Jennings probably should be the number 1 quarterback, I think. What's his playing time needed? He needs at least a C playing time. So I think we still have to move him to starter. The only thing is Johnny Brookhart also needs playing time. I'm not too sure. They're both in the lineup, it looks like, right now, so they're not both red-shirted. Looks like Mayer is. But if I move Jennings up to number 1, does that put him as the starter? I honestly don't know. Let's just put Jennings as number 1, Brookhart as number 2, and then Mayer will be number 3. Mayer doesn't need playing time anyways. He's got proximity to home. Halfback, we have Branham as number 1, Casey number 2, True in there, Labino there. Rush is currently wanting playing time, but he's also the worst, one of the worst halfbacks we have. Duckett has conference prestige, proximity home for Flanagan. Doesn't matter too much on Flanagan. He is also technically a fullback. But yeah, Rush, I don't think I could get him really playing time. So there is guys with proximity to home like Casey and stuff like that, but they're better players. I don't care too much about George Rush, I don't think. He might be a guy that ends up leaving this team potentially. But he's only got a normal dev trade and stuff like that. I think for now we'll keep him as that option. I guess I could redshirt him, right? But I don't know how to redshirt, honest. Like if I go like this, wait, does it say anything about redshirting? It doesn't. I guess I could look at the redshirt part of this afterwards. Aside from that, for fullback, Flanagan would be the guy. Witherspoon is a tight end. I don't know why it shows these guys. I guess these guys could play other positions too. Robert Thomas, the number 1 wide receiver. Fletcher, number 2. Davis. Wasn't there other people that were important about playing time? Newell is a tight end, so that doesn't matter. Kirkus doesn't need to be playing right now as a wide receiver. I guess technically all these guys are optional players that could play wide receiver if we really wanted them to, but we don't. So it looks like we're good on that. Tight end. Looks like mostly everybody is getting playing time here potentially, or has a chance to. We just got to make sure that the right prospects are in the right spots in terms of order. Stopiak, that stuff doesn't matter that much. Didn't we bring in a tackle? I thought we did in Campbell. Where is Campbell? Oh man, why is this so slow, this screen? Yo, this screen is legit slower than NHL. This is actually kind of scaring me a bit here. Campbell needs conference prestige. He doesn't have playing time as a thing that he needs, but how do I get people higher in this lineup? Like, I could go like this, I guess. Oh my goodness. Why is this screen so slow, though? It's actually kind of scaring me a lot. It says Devlin's red-shirted, too, but if I swap him and Campbell, would that do anything? Let's see. Oh, it does. Okay. Okay. That's good. So put Campbell up there just because Campbell's the same overall. He's a more recent prospect, too. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. Lyon's a guard. Who else we have for left tackle? Oliver's not a guy I picked up, I don't think. Peak. Strauss isn't important really either. Left guard. Why is the screen though so slow? Like literally I push down and it takes like a full second almost for it to load. It's actually kind of scary because I feel like the game just wants to crash in that sense. I do want Ezekiel Vick to be playing, and I think he has coach's prestige. Winston should be playing for sure too. Technically it's good to have at least a left guard playing like Whitney, but he also has coach prestige just like Vick. Vick is a little bit better, so let's put Vick in to that spot. Aside from that, that should be fine. Centers, I don't think I have anybody that I drafted. We don't even have a lot of centers anyways, so let's keep that the same. Right guard. Oh, there's Vic right there. Actually, maybe it's just because I moved him into that left guard spot. I honestly don't even know what's going on here. Wait. Winston, Lyons, and Vic. Let's use on this one. Yeah, I guess I could put the other guy on this spot because the other guy's a right guard technically. So let's just go back to Whitney in this spot. I'm trying to make sure I'm getting everybody the playing time they deserve here. Right tackle. It did put Brett Campbell on the right tackle technically instead of the left tackle. He is a left tackle by default. So I guess I could technically put Devlin back in that spot. So I guess it makes sense what they're doing here. The edge. Is there anybody that isn't in a spot? I feel like most of the guys we're playing are actually in a right spot already. Just trying to make sure we don't have any prospects that are not playing, because I want all these guys to be playing if possible. Reg, Brown. Dextrell Brown, is he even playing? Oh yeah, he is. Okay, good. This is really weird, this screen, why it's so slow. I know I'm complaining about the screen, but it literally is way slower than an NHL screen, I feel like. And I'm not too sure why. Defensive tackles should be okay. Proximity home, coach prestige. Brand exposure. Alright, that should be fine. I feel like we don't have a lot of players, so it doesn't matter really where these guys are, as long as they're getting some playing time. Looks like a lot of the guys that we picked up over these first 2 years are actually playing, potentially. Some of them I might have to move higher in the lineup. I'm not too sure on that. I guess I could adjust this in next episode too, if you guys see anything, but I think this is all set up good. I just got to double check on it though still, in case. Smith, Wallace, Anthony Davis, his thing is playing time. He should probably be ahead of Wallace in that sense, maybe. Let's just put him ahead of Wallace. I don't really know. Strong safeties. Aguide wants procs to home. Hooks wants playing time. And same with Roderick Hunter. I probably would prefer Hooks to be in that spot, #1 spot, I guess. And the kickers are fine. Punters are fine too. I don't really know. I think I adjusted it, but I honestly might be a bit confused. Alright, so that's anyways set up and ready to go. Let's also go to the red shirts part here and see who's red shirted. So these are all the guys that are red shirted, which means they don't have a year come off their thing, or what? So technically a lot of the people that I brought in are not red shirted, which is good, because I'd prefer them to be in the lineup maybe. So I think we are good. Yeah, I think we're good. Honestly, I have no idea. Actually, wait a second. Branham is red-shirted. Branham probably should be playing, but I'm not too sure if he's already in the lineup. It looks like Casey is. I honestly don't even know how to tell if they're actually starting or not. Oh boy. View roster, maybe in this screen. Let's see. QBs. Yeah, I'm honestly not too sure on how to make sure they're in the right order and who's starting and all that. Like, it's definitely not as easy to tell, in my opinion, as NHL is. But this screen's definitely a lot more faster than the other screen we were just on, so... I think we'll leave it like this. If we have people complain about playing time and stuff like that, we'll worry about that in the next episode. But let's get into some recruiting and scouting. So this is going to take a little bit again. What areas do we need to focus on this year? I'm curious on that. A lot of areas, not really a surprise. So we will look at, I guess, what areas need the most. So guards, edge, and everything else is 1 to 2. So let's start off with the guards, the O guards, as I'll call them, and we'll go any state because we could look at high-end prospects as well. Let's actually look at 4-star prospects first here. So, is there anybody that has us #1 on their list? Probably not, right? No, not as of right now. But we could still throw our name into the hat for some big guys. This guy has proximity to home too, which is good. It's a B rating for proximity to home, but it looks like there might be some other schools that get interested in him. Obviously, we're going to have to throw a lot into him at the beginning. Same with this guy. Is there anybody that would maybe be able to win? I guess I could just go after the first 2 big-name 4-star guys first. So let's add a right guard and a left guard. Right, this guy does have procs to home as well, so we might be able to get both these guys potentially. So we're going to look into those guys for sure. We'll also look into a 3-star one as well while we're at it here early on. Playing time and procs. We'll go playing time. Actually, maybe not playing time. Is there procs? Because I do like procs the best, I think. Yeah, there you go. Let's go with Cole Drango. So we'll look into those 3 guards. Then aside from that, we'll head on over to the other position, which is edge on defense. We'll look into a couple of these edges. We'll go to 4-star prospects again, look into 2 of them at least. One left and one right. Is there anybody with procs? Playing time we could definitely do as well. But I feel like that's going to be harder to combat. But let's see, any other proxes or something? There's another prox. And then we will go to 3 stars and get one. Wait, did I just do 2 righties? I might have done 2 righties, but it doesn't really matter, I guess, to be honest. We're just trying to make sure we could at least try with these top-end prospects first and foremost. So those guys are good. And then we'll try 1 3-star in each other area, maybe. Yeah, I think that might make sense. So quarterbacks, we don't technically need a lot of 3-star quarterbacks, but let's see, anybody with procs to home? There was this guy in sharp. We might as well throw him into this list. We'll go to wide receiver for 3 stars as well. Playing time, we already have a lot of good wide receivers, so we probably don't even really need a 3-star wide receiver maybe, but let's go with Evan Burrow here. We'll head to tight end. We need 1 tight end, so let's see what we got. Anybody with procs? There's a procs at B-. We'll look at Ron Damiana. Yeah, I don't know. Damania? Something like that. Offensive tackle. We'll look at a right and a left potentially. Both these guys want playing time, so let's just add both of them. We already looked at guards. Defensive tackle. Let's look at 1 defensive tackle. Anybody with procs? There's a procs. Mr. Johnny Ham. Not John Ham, but Johnny Ham. Outside linebackers. Procs to home's a C. That's not the highest rating. Is there anybody with better than C for procs? There is one. Shaquille Hyman from Ohio. We'll get looking at him. The mic. We need 1 mic. Hopefully we could get a lot of these guys up there in interest after 1 week, since no teams are interested in them right now. We're definitely going to push harder on the 4-star guys at the beginning, but the 3 stars obviously we'll do some work on soon too. Cornerbacks, apparently we do have a lot of cornerbacks. Is there anybody with procs? We are looking at 3-star recruits here only though at the moment. Pro potential. What about Denson? Pro potential. A lot of these guys are pro potentials. Huh. It's interesting. Playing time for Steed. We do have a lot of guys with playing time already on quarterback, so I'd prefer procs on this one. C+, not the greatest. Is there anything better than that for procs? Playing time. A lot of them are pro potential. It seems like there's another playing time one. Hawkers, pro potential. Pro potential. Pro potential. Literally every single one of these guys is pro potential almost. Playing time is not a hard one to get for these guys, but I kind of need somebody more with procs, I feel like. But I might just look into some playing time ones, I guess, just because it seems like not a lot of guys have procs to home on the cornerback position. Let's only just go with 1 cornerback for the time being. And then free safety, it's not full safety. I don't know why I keep on calling it full safety. We'll look at 1 with playing time, I guess. And that should be good. All right, so we have 16 prospects on our list. We're going to start by looking at the top-rated guys, which are the 4-star ones, and putting a lot of hours into them off the hop. We have 315 hours here, so since no other team has offered them so far, we're going to already offer a scholarship to these 4-star guys. And then basically what we're going to do is we're going to probably send the house right off the hop and see if that gets us a good general amount of interest off the beginning. So, because we need a lot of interest with some of these dudes early before the big teams jump in. So, I can't actually send the house in the first week. Oh man, I thought I was able to do that. I guess I can only offer a scholarship during the preseason. So I guess we'll have to do scholarships for the time being on a lot of these dudes. I guess I could do it for every single player here. Offer a scholarship in this beginning week. See if anybody gets a good amount of general interest. Since I can't like contact friends and family and all that, we might as well use their hours for sending scholarships and seeing if it gives anybody a good head start. Hopefully it does. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm very, very excited to see what else we end up snagging up this year. I don't even know how many years it's going to take before this team's actually competitive. Also, I don't know how long the series is going to run for because obviously with September rapidly approaching, NHL 26 content is going to be the main thing. And I'm also going to get into NBA 2K stuff as well. So I'm hoping I could kind of get this team into a good spot, but we might end up not getting that far. So I can't do anything else other than offering scholarships. So I guess I could add more players to this, or I could start scouting out people a little bit more. But I feel like that scouting part's worthless. Or I could leave some of these hours for next week. But let's add more players, I guess, to our list here. I was going to just do one of every player type, but we might as well add a couple others. Let's go back to any state again. Actually, not any state for 3-star prospects. I guess I could technically look at a 4-star prospect in every area too. So you know what? Let's look for a 4-star free safety if there's one, which there probably isn't. Yeah, there's never anybody that's interested in us for free safeties that are 4-star. Let's add one other free safety here. A lot of pro potentials. Proximity home, that's a good one. Channing Scroggins. What a name. Scroggins is a really cool last name, though. Don't get me wrong on that. Cornerback. Let's add somebody here with maybe prox. There's a lot of these guys that wanted pro potential or playing time. We might as well just add one with playing time. Let's do, for his last name, Lual Ajarututu. I honestly don't even know how it's pronounced. Probably not pronounced like that, but we'll try it. Outside linebacker, maybe Proctor. Sure, let's look at Cortez Proctor because it sounds like a spy name or something. Defensive tackle. Let's look at one here again. Prox to home. Anybody with a good one? Byron Craig. We'll look at you. And then we'll go back to Ogard again here. And find another one. Playing time, sure. And wide receiver, we'll look at one more wide receiver and one more quarterback. And we'll just give them all, like I said, all scholarships this week. And then we could focus in on them next week by giving a lot of them send the house or whatever. Is there one with proximity? I would prefer proximity over playing time potentially. But it's not a huge issue. There's another prox. We'll look at Rico Milliner. And one quarterback. Hey, what's his name? Spencer Ayu. He wants playing time. He only needs a C. So he doesn't really need a lot of playing time, which is kind of nice based on that. Is there anybody else? Playing time have a need C minus. Finau Pudu. I don't even know how that's pronounced, but we'll look at him because he's got a cool name. Sure. And let's go to the bottom of this list again here and go back to this part here and give some scholarships out to these dudes too, since I can't really do anything else right now. I hope we get some good interest after the first week because that would definitely help things out a bit, maybe in terms of landing a lot of better recruits this year. This first week of scouting is always the toughest part, but there you go. We still have 200 hours, but there's no way I could really spend more hours unless I add more people to this list, which I could. But I don't think it's necessary because I can't do anything else really with them. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do anything else. I could scout some of them out a bit, or maybe I could look at a 4-star recruit in each of those areas. But, you know what? We'll leave it. We'll leave it for now because I think it's fine. All right, so that's all set up and ready to go. Custom schedules, top stories. Those are Heisman watches, so these are like predictions for awards or what? I guess so. Okay. Upgrade coaching skills. We could technically upgrade our coaching skills. I still don't know really where I want to spend points. We could go back to recruiter here and max out the rest of these things, which increased chance to sway quarterbacks. This is an increased chance to sway them. Oh, does that mean increased chance to sway them to join your team? I guess so. Let's use some points on this. We haven't used points in a while, so I might as well max out this top part of recruiter. So that way we can unlock the second portion, I think, right? Oh, and actually the second portion is going to unlock till a different level, maybe? Oh, actually, once we sign people from the recruiting classes, okay. But still, I think it's good to max that out. We still have a lot of points anyways, I think. Let me double check on that. How much points we got left? 4. Okay, never mind. We were able to upgrade that all, but now we have to wait and get more coins again. So that's all good. Let's advance to next week. We don't have any preseason games this week, but we are in the preseason. So Let's see if we get any good general interest off the gate, because I could not add any more hours to those people. And some people already have locked us out. 3-star wide receivers, both have locked us out. No 4-stars have locked us out so far. But we do already lose out on 2 wide receivers that we added to our list. Evan Burrow has already reached his top 8 schools. And same with Rico Millionaire. All right, that's not huge since we already have a lot of wide receivers anyways. But would have been nice if we got some good interest off the hop with those guys. All right, so obviously a lot of these guys now are going to have starting to get interest across the league, I guess. Yeah, a lot of these people are going to get interest probably right off the hop. So I'm hoping we could send the house on a lot of these guys that we really want, like the 4-stars, and get them. But those guys that locked us out already, we have to remove them both, which means we're going to need to still look into wide receiver, I guess. Kind of sucks that they literally decided not to come here already, but let's go back to here, look at some other 3-star wide receivers, and see what we got here. So Prox to home, Conrad de Imperio. Oh, wait, actually, where does he have us on his list? Is there anybody with really good interests? No, not in the 3-star recruits, but that's okay. Let's go state instead here. Actually, maybe not this state. I'll just sort by this and see if there's anybody with procs, because we need some more proxes potentially. There's a prox, Darren Amerson, and there's also Larry North. Sure, let's look at those guys, and we will offer them scholarships as well off the hop. Oh my goodness, why does this game glitch out sometimes? Like now I can't even press A or anything. I can just press B and back up. That's kind of strange. Let's go back to recruiting here, since the game was glitching out a bit. Let's see. So we offered scholarships on a lot of these dudes so far, but we need to offer scholarships on those new wide receivers. So that's what we're going to do first and foremost with them for a couple of our hours. But now we're going to go to our 4-star recruits, which if we go back to here, this guy, we are going to right away here already send the house, because this is the first week. This is the important week to get some general interest. So we're already going to send the house on all the 4-star recruits to try and get some general interest off the hop here. The 3-star recruits, since we still have 90 hours, we could put 10 hours into each of those 3-star recruits. So we will do DM the player on a bunch of these guys for 9 of these dudes. And that's basically how I'm going to spend the first week of scouting out here. I don't know if it's the right call doing it like this, but I'm just trying to figure out the best way possible to use our hours. I could have done just 5 hours on all of them, but we might as well try and get a lot of interest off the hop. If a lot of these 3-stars lock us out right away, we'll get our hours back anyways. But we might as well try and make some good moves here early on. So there you go. All our hours is spent already. There's a lot of people that will not have any hours spent on them, but we could come back to them at some point. Alright, so that's all dealt with. We're ready to advance a week, and hopefully we get some good interest off the hop. That's what I'm really hoping for with those 4-star recruits. If we don't, obviously we could turn our attention to some 3-star recruits, but let's advance another week. This is our first week of the season, I guess, technically now. Actually, no, it's week 0. Alright, so this is where it's important to get a lot of interest off the hops, like Nick was telling me on the Discord. So this should be a good week for us in terms of getting some general interest from those 4-stars, my guess, but a little bit nervous if there's going to be other teams trying to get a lot of interest off the hop as well. So let's advance a week and see if anybody locks us out already or not. Hopefully nobody does. Alright, so, yep, some of them already have locked us out. One of them being a 4-star recruit. That's unfortunate. We'll come back to that in a second here. So, if we go back here to a recruiting update, Kevon Simeonet has locked us out, unfortunately. He's reached his top 8 schools. So, we will not be getting our 4-star left guard. There is still that right guard we put interest into. Lual Argiro Tutu, despite the cool name, has locked us out as well as a cornerback. And same goes for the quarterback, Finau Petautu, or whatever it's pronounced as. I'll say potato, just for fun. But yeah, we've been locked out by a few guys already in the early going. Alright, so we do have our first game this week of the season. It's against Rutgers, which I don't know where that is, but shout out to Rutgers. let's go back to our list here and see what the update is on some of these dudes. So we put a little bit of hours into Sharp. He has not moved us into his top 8 at all so far. Halfback, we have nobody. Fullback, there's nobody. Wide receiver, we didn't put any hours into these guys, and that might have been a mistake here early on. Tight end, not in the top 8. We might get locked out very soon from some of these dudes as well. Nobody in the offensive tackle either. Have us in the top 8. However, with the 4-star right guard, Jacoby Atogwi has us as number 5 right now, which is a good start. And the only thing that kind of sucks, though, is the Pipeline Tier 5 team is in number 1, which means likely we would not be able to land this guy, my guess, by the end of it. But we could definitely still try for him, but I don't think we'll land him. Simeonet actually has us as the top 8, so I thought we got locked out, but I guess not. So we are actually 7th right at the moment, but look at all the good pipeline tiers that are competing for him. I don't think there's a chance really to get Simeonet based on that. There is literally, in that top 8, we are the only team that's below a 4 pipeline tier, I guess. So I don't think we're going to get a chance on him. We could already remove him, but for right now, we'll keep it like that. This one we might have a chance on. There is a 2-star pipeline tier team as well interested in him, but obviously we got work to do. Durango doesn't have us anywhere. Same with Kiernan. We go back to centers. Nobody there. Edge, 4-star. Horn doesn't have us anywhere in his top 8. Boyce has us as 4th. That's not a bad start. We're actually listed as a pipeline 3 team now, I think. So that's different because I'm pretty sure we were a pipeline 2 last year. So we might have improved. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a tight race to try and get up into that. Looks like it. There's also Reed, doesn't have us anywhere. What else we got here? Nobody up here has us. We might have to put some hours into some other dudes here too. We're already locked out by this dude, so we'll remove him. We only have like 10 hours, so we'll probably remove 10 hours off of a bunch of those random 3-star recruits. But I don't really like that initial week too much. Maybe it's some good stuff for those 4-star guys, but a lot of guys don't have a ton of interest so far, which is not great. So I'll keep 50 hours on all those 4-stars, but I am going to remove 5 hours at least off some of these dudes, if possible. So let's remove that, and then we'll add action and just do 5 instead on you. Same goes with all these dudes. Just try to minimize the amount of hours spent on some of these 3-stars a little bit. Oh my goodness, why is this game glitching here? Oh, I didn't want to remove this one on him. This game kind of glitches out sometimes. I feel like, wait, didn't I have 50 hours spent on this dude? Oh, maybe I didn't. He was one of the ones that I was supposed to put 50 hours into. God damn it, man. So we'll remove hours on this dude. So let's do that. Man, I am overwhelmed again a bit with the amount of stuff we have to do at the beginning of this. It's always a lot easier once you actually start getting people to accept, because at the beginning of the season, there's a lot of hard work going into scouting and all that. So let's add 5 hours to these dudes until we get 50 hours back here. And we almost have that now. We just have to do it with 2-man or 2-man. I don't know. Boom, now we have 50 hours back. We can go to this 4-star recruit and send the house. I meant to send the house on him earlier. I don't think I did, which is not great. We'll come back to these dudes and also remove the DM the player on them and search social media on them. Try and get ourselves a couple hours back to use on other dudes, which you only got 10 more hours because of that. So let's go to the bottom here, go to the wide receivers, maybe our 1 wide receiver, spend 5 hours on you. And we'll also do this right guard as well. Damn, I wish we had more hours, but it's just because we're sending a house on 4 4-star guys. So that's like literally 200 hours spent just on them. We might be able to tone it down a little bit. Like maybe we could tone it down to 25 hours, but it's tough to say if that's a good idea. I mean, I could maybe send it to 35 hours so that way we save 15. You know what? That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I kind of need a lot of interest on some of these dudes. Like maybe I keep Adwagwi as a 50-hour person, but Simeonet, let's do 35 instead. So let's select this. And let's select this instead. So now we saved 15 hours that way. Horn we didn't spend any hours on last time, so we'll keep him at 50. And then we will remove Boyce's 50 and do 35 on him as well, just to get a little bit more hours. And then we can come back to these other guys near the bottom of our list and add at least 5 hours to them each too. Or maybe not all of them, but some of them. That way we could get as much interest as possible on these guys as early as possible. But yeah, I'm not too sure if this is the good way of doing scouting or what, but I'm just trying to figure out a system that would work for us. So everybody has hours on them now, which is good, except for North. But we do have one wide receiver with hours on him anyways, so let's go through the first week. I don't know how much of the season we're going to go through, maybe 1 to 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks even. I don't think we'll have any commitments in this episode, but might as well do some preliminary work on that. So, so our first game is against Rutgers, as I was saying. I'm pretty sure our lineup should be set. We'll double check and make sure players were actually playing after the first game. But let's advance to week number 2 and see what our first game is like against Rutgers. I don't know how good they were last year, but let's see if our young guys could get off to a good start that are actually in the lineup. And maybe Robert Thomas could have a good game. Proctor's already locked us out, so that's unfortunate. We'll remove Cortez Proctor. He's the only one that came back to us that week. We are still leveling up a little bit, and the rest of this is the same. We did lose our first game of the season. That's unfortunate. So, kind of sucks, but oh well. Let's go get that guy off our list that locked us out already, which I don't know where he is. Like, what position did he play in? I think it was Mike, right? No, it wasn't Mike. I was OLB. Let's remove him. And let's come back to an update on all of the people that we've been scouting out, especially the 4-stars. So we are number 1 now for the 4-star right guard. So we are actually doing some pretty good work here early on. But obviously there's other pipeline tier teams behind us. I guess it's pipeline tier based on position, because it says we're a bronze pipeline tier for Ottagui. But for, who was it? Yeah, for boys, we are 3-star. So I guess it depends on your strength at that position. Is that the real thing? I don't really know. Anyways, we're number 1 for him. CME Net, we're up to number 4, but those teams that are in the top 3 are going to be very tough to compete with. I don't even know if it's worth still putting hours into this guy. Aside from that, Durango, we're not anywhere so far. Horn, we are in the top 5, which is good. Boyce, we are 2nd. So making some good work with a couple of these 4-star recruits early on. Aside from that, nobody else has us anywhere in their top 10. So we need more hours spent into them potentially. I'm almost thinking of getting Simeonet off this just because I don't think I can compete with those pipeline tiers. But I'm honestly thinking to just keep it the same for now. I am going to go to, I guess, since we're number 1 on Oddalaki's list right now, we don't need to really put it into another right guard, but I need to put some more hours into people. So let's go to North here, who has no hours spent on him, and go search social media. Yeah, that's good. All right. So how was our first game of the season, out of curiosity? We lost that one, obviously. I'm just curious if the right people were playing in the lineup that game or not. So if I go to season stats here. Okay, so Jeff Jennings did start that game. Okay, good. We were putting the right person in. So Jeff Jennings was 17 for 45. 37% completion rate, so that's not very good. But he did have 221 passing yards, which is pretty solid. And it looks like we didn't really score a lot of touchdowns because only 1 touchdown passed that game through a couple interceptions. Let's take a look at maybe a couple other dudes. 16 yards for Branham, all right. Robert Thomas only had 2 yards in his first game, but obviously he should get better here soon. That's actually just rushing yards. What about receiving yards? 19 receiving yards. Okay, that's better. Looks like Griffin had a pretty good game. 136 yards of receiving yards. That's pretty good, I'd say. I'm pretty much guessing on that front. Defense. What about sacks and stuff? Looks like nobody had any sacks. I don't know. It doesn't really matter too much early on, but just thought to take a look at that just for fun. Just make sure the right guys were actually playing. How was that first game, though? If I go to... Isn't there a way to take a look at the scores across the league? If I go to... How do I take a look at the score last game? I don't know where I look for that. Top stories. Oh, wait, no, actually, no, never mind. I guess, does it show here? No, it doesn't. But it did just show that, something about Griffin, but now, oh, wait, here, if I go back up to this point, I think it shows. Yeah. So this is what UNLV's like. UNLV's definitely better than us, so we might be losing this game. But look at, there's the impact player from last game. Lewis Griffin. He's the impact player on this team, apparently. Very good speed, but not the awareness. So, with that said, let's get through another game at least. I don't know how much, like I said, of the season I'll go through, but kind of just want to see if we're doing the right things here early on. So, let's see if we continue to get interest on some people or if anybody locks us out yet, which hopefully isn't going to be the case. All right, so looks like we're making some good headway with some of the guys that are 4 stars, but some people are locking us out still, which means we're going to need to put more hours into them. Nothing's going up in terms of this, but that doesn't matter right now. But SnipeNScore does have us still as a top 5 school. He's reached his top 5, but he has us outside of his top 3. And I don't think those are teams that I could really compete with. It's the Ohio State Buckeyes, I think. I don't know who VT is. I would guess like Vermont or something like that. And then North Carolina in 3rd. Those are some really good teams. I don't know if we should even be putting any more hours into SnipeNScore. I just don't think there's a way I could get into his top 3 maybe. But aside from that, we are still number 1 on Jacoby Atalagui, which is good by a large margin, so we might be able to work on him and get him. There's also Matthew Boyce, who we're still number 1 on, but we're fighting with the Michigan Spartans, which is not necessarily somebody I'd want to fight with. But if we can knock both these guys out, that'd be awesome. Aside from that, Reed has locked us out, and same with Johnny Ham, unfortunately. Alright, let's do at least one more week here. FCS East has never played a game this season. I don't really know, but we were 0-2 to start off the year. Apparently, the impact player now is Melvin Spriggs, which is not a guy I picked up, but let's go to recruiting here and remove some people that locked us out. So, Reed, we have to remove you. And then also same with Johnny Ham, unfortunately. We do have 10 more hours. Like I said, I'm not too sure if I should be putting more hours into SnipeNScore already. Technically, I've unlocked the Swain ability already. But I don't think there's a way I could really win against these schools. It's tough to compete with in general, just getting into the top 3. Like, Ohio is definitely a really good team. And of course, they're technically inside our same state. So I feel like Ohio might win just because they also do have that proximity to home, if that's his interest, which I don't remember if it is. Oh, yeah, it is. So I feel like he's going to end up becoming a Buckeye. I feel like he's going to become a Buckeye. So I don't know. But yeah, we're number 1 still by a large margin there. We probably need to put more hours into people like Durango. Maybe not Durango. I feel like I need to put way more hours into some of these dudes, so I probably shouldn't send the house on some of these dudes anymore. We are number 1 still on Deshaun Horn too, which is good. But I need way more hours spent on these 3-star dudes to make some real good headway. This is tough. This is tough. I feel like I should get rid of the hours off SnipeNScore, but I don't know. I don't know, because like I said, I don't know if it's worth competing for. Let's go through each of these positions here for a second. So I was leading on a couple big name 4 stars, which means those 3 stars, like these guys, I don't really need to put into, because these 2 guys are guards. So, and I'm also good with these 4-star guys. So I probably need to put hours into some other positions instead. So I don't feel like cornerback's an absolute must. I don't feel like quarterback or wide receiver is that important to put hours into. I guess tight end what I could do. So let's add some hours to Damiani. I honestly don't even know, man. Let's do another week, I think, and then I'll be all assimilate, I think, in this episode, just because I need your guys' opinion on that 1 4-star guy, if we should drop his hours or not, and how we should kind of spread out the hours with the rest of the people we're scouting out. Like, I know it's not too much of the season, but I kind of just want to make sure we're making the right moves here early on so we could lock some players in, potentially. I do want to go back to season stats. How did Jeff Jennings do in his 2nd game? Okay, much, much better, looks like. Much, much better. Like, if I got a player card, does it actually say how his game-by-game stats are? Probably not, right? No, it doesn't. Oh, yeah, if I go to stats, maybe it will here. No, it doesn't. It just goes to the same stuff we were just looking at. But it looks like he had a better second game, but he still only has a 40% completion rate, which is not very good, of course. But, all right. Definitely a better second game. What about other players? Branham, 33 rushing yards. Lobinho, 12 rushing yards. Thomas, 8 rushing yards. Receiving yards. Griffin's up to 192. Obviously, had a really good first game. Fletcher at 110. Thomas is only at 40. All right. Blocking, defense, any crazy tackle counts. James Hooks is at 14 tackles already. I mean, that's cool. What about kicking and punting and stuff like that? 100% from Sombrelio. Punting, 41.9%. Actually, not 41.9%. 18 punts, 754 yards. Damn, this guy's got quite the foot, I think. I wanted to go back to defense. What about the sacks? There's no sacks so far on this team. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll go one more week of sim, and then that'll be it as well. We'll take a look at some stats after this week, but I just don't want to be like too far ahead in the season and not being able to lock in some 3-star recruits, because I know I'm not going to be able to get every single 4-star we want, but it would be nice to get at least a couple this year like we did last year with Thomas. So let's advance a week against FCS East, see how this team does. And then obviously, we'll do some scouting still this week as well. So Horn has reached his top 8 schools. We are currently number 1 on his list for that. And we have leveled up to level 18, which is good. Or actually 17, almost 18, I guess. Nothing is going up. But we did win our first game of the season. So that's a good way to end this episode, with a victory. We'll take a look at some stats here shortly too. But as I was mentioning to Sean, Horn has reached his top 8 schools. We are currently number 1. Which is good. So we are currently number 1 on 4-star, a couple of 4-star recruits, which is good. But obviously, I don't know if we'll land them all. Probably not. But let's go back to recruiting here and take a look at that. And we'll take a look at the stats on our team and stuff. But in terms of quarterbacks, we are up to number 7 on Sharp's list. So we are starting to get some interest on a couple 3-stars. For the wide receivers, these guys still don't have any interest in us, so we need more hours spent into them. So that's something that we could do in next episode. Damiana has us as number 8, but we're very close to being cut off from his top 8, so we gotta maybe put more hours into him if we wanted to get him. Offensive tackle or outside tackle, whatever the heck it means. We don't have top 8. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a lot of these 3-star guys if I put a lot of time into these 4-stars, but Taagui, we are still number 1 by a very large margin. I feel like he might be a guy we could land just based on how we've started off so far with this guy. I know there's technically a 5 pipeline tier team, but I feel like we have a very good lead right now. Simeonet, we dropped all the way down to 5th, and as I expected, I don't think this guy's worth spending our hours into. Those pipeline tiers are just too good, and I don't see any way we get back into the top 3. So I probably will remove the hours from him, but I need your guys' opinions on that. Aside from that, Durango has us as number 4, so that's good, just in case we don't get Simeonet. Gives us a couple right guards. Kiernan, we didn't put any hours into, really. Edge, we are number 1 on Horns, as we saw. Still number 1 for Boyce as well, so that's nice. Defensive tackle, Craig, we are nowhere. Outside linebacker, or whatever it is, offensive linebacker, something like that. We are number 5 on Hyman's list. All right. Jason Ellington, we're nowhere in his top 8 at the moment. Cornerbacks with Boyman, we are nowhere there as well. Free safety, nowhere in the top 8. Strong safety, we don't have anybody. Same with kickers and punters. So we need to get rid of some hours off some of these dudes to put hours into people that we actually really want. So the 4-star guys that we have still on the list, I think we definitely keep hours on them, except for maybe Simeonet. Maybe remove him from our thing just because I don't think I can compete with those teams above. Aside from that, maybe take all hours off some of these guys that have 5 hours and then put it to the ones that we need the most. I don't know which ones we need the most, though. So if you guys could let me know on that, that would be great. So there is that. Let's take a look at how our game went last week, because we saw that we won, which is great. Actually, we could go scores and schedules. I know where it is now. So we could go back through these games. So let's go back to week number 1 in our first game of the season. I'm trying to see where we are on this list of giant amount of games. Where are we on this giant amount of games? Oh, there we are. So our first game that was against Rutgers, we lost 48-10. So that's a pretty rough first game. Then we head to week number 2, which our second game was against, who was it again? It's probably all the way down near the bottom of this list. Damn, a lot of games here, man. I guess I could technically just go like this and go to Mac and it'll be there. Yeah, there we go. That's easier. We lost 41-6. So the first 2 games were absolutely atrocious. But then we won our third game, which was last week against FCS East. We won 20-10. Not bad. In that game, since we can go to box scores and player stats, which is pretty sick. Pretty solid game for Jeff Jennings. It looks like 97.2 passer rating. So I guess he had a really good passing rating, which is good to see. Aside from that, 94 yards of rushing yards from Deion Branham. That's a really solid game for him. Robert Thomas only had 5, but he definitely had most of our rushing yards. Receiving yards, Griffin had 42, Newell had 39, Thomas had 38. All right. Blocking, nothing matters there, I guess. Defense, looks like 8 tackles from Eric Shepard and hooks. All right. And Heath had 6. Okay, looking the way some of these young guys are playing. Sombrelio had 2 good kicks. Punting, 441 yards of punts from Jameson. All right. Yeah, stuff is looking decent. I mean, we are 1-2. I don't expect this to be really good this season, but I do like seeing that at least some of the people we've been recruiting are actually playing. As I obviously made that mistake from year 1 to year 2, and that's why Tanyan left his team. If I go to like season stats right now, though, yeah, like Jennings' completion rate still is only a 40%, but it is much better after the last 2 games. And then we have like 127 rushing yards from Branham. Receiving yards, Griffin's still been the best by a long shot. So liking the way Lewis Griffin's been playing so far here early on. So any sacks yet on this team? Looks like no. All right. So there's that. Anything else we need to take a look at before we end this episode? I don't think so. Being 1-2 to start the season is not bad. We are playing North Illinois Huskies next episode, so for our first game. And if we look at, oh, that's by the numbers from last week's game. Yeah, we were definitely way better than FCS East. But I don't know how good North Illinois is. They are as good as us in terms of record, but I don't know how good their actual team is itself. So could be a good matchup. Maybe we could be like 500 at the start of the next episode. That'd be kind of nice. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Akron Zips and Dynasty mode. I almost said Huskies just because of friggin' North Illinois. But in next episode, we will obviously simulate more of year number 3. I don't know how much of the season we'll get done, if we'll get all of it done or what. But obviously, I'd like to start making some good headway on some other people. But the 4-star recruits, I think we're making some good starts to the year. And I'm hoping we can land some of those guys by the end of the season, kind of like what we did with Robert Thomas last year. So sing down below, and I'll see you guys next time.